Deep in the ocean, an orca pod is on the hunt. But these aren't your average orcas. These guys are organized.
Marketing team, did you get those social media posts scheduled for the SEAL migration?
Aye, Captain. We even have an automated notification for all pod managers when they go live.
They use Monday.com to keep their teamwork sharp, their communication clear, and their goals in sight. Monday.com. For whatever you run, even orcas. Go to Monday.com to dive deeper.
Well, I don't see the point in waiting any longer. So let's bring her out. The star attraction, the one you came to see. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Miss Judy Gold.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whatever time of day it is. Welcome to this week's episode of Kill Me Now. I am so excited. Now, this is my first kind of repeat guest. I've never had anyone on twice.
Wow.
Yes, but she's so amazing. She was on with her husband, who's some people may know, some people may not know.
Some people know.
Funny. I was kidding. Oh, God. She's not even laughing at me.
I begged her to be on this show again, by the way.
Ladies and gentlemen, the amazing Jeannie Gaffigan. Woo!
Thank you very much. Thank you, Judy.
Jeannie Gaffigan, who is the greatest. You're an actress, you're a writer, you're a producer, you're
Director.
Mother.
Abused wife.
You also have a charity that you chair.
Yes, an organization. Yes, charitable organization.
And you're just amazing. You are Jeannie Gaffigan. Do you know Jim Gaffigan?
I have run into him a few times.
Like in your house or just outside,
in my house. I run into him occasionally.
Oh, okay.
He lives here.
Yeah, I know him.
Yeah.
By the way, we are recording in Jeannie's unfucking believable home.
It's like MTV Cribs, but better.
But it's crazy. I mean, but it's great. I love it. And you're in a really good area. I'm not giving the address, but it's a really good area.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Now, Jeannie, as when I had you on last time with your husband, I kind of don't get mad.
Okay.
But I found you more fascinating. I mean, I'd known him for so long, and we were talking, and I'm like, oh my God, you have such a fucking story.
He introduced us, though, so we have to at least give him that credit.
I love him. I love the guy. Jim, I hope your career, moves in the right direction because you're really funny.
I know.
Anyway.
How fun was it when you did our show a couple times?
Wait, so I think I did it 3 times. Yeah. So your kids go to a parochial school.
So, some of them go to a parochial school. Some of them go to a non-parochial school.
Yeah, a fancy,
It's all fancy.
Right. And you asked me to do, all the comedians do benefits for their kids' school. So Jeannie, of course, does everything. So she was putting together this benefit for the school. And
Catholic school.
And I'm like, they're going to hate me because I'm like Jewy Jew. And she's like, they're going to love you. And I've done it 3 times.
Yeah,
it's the best audience. It is the best audience. They're the greatest. Are they all Catholic?
I mean, mostly.
Yeah.
There's some non-Catholics. And also it's not like that school is more like culturally Catholic.
Right.
But they love the Jew stuff.
Yeah. It's amazing. I had Father James Martin on my podcast.
He is amazing.
I
was on his show.
Oh, really? I wasn't. But I'm friends with them.
Well, I had a brain tumor, so.
What?
Yeah, that's what the book is about, Judy.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Yeah. How did we not know that?
That's what the book is about that you supposedly read.
Did you know that? Wow. Well, you look good for having a brain tumor.
Thank you.
So I want to start from the beginning. I really do. I want to start from the beginning. So you grew up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
That's right.
And you are the eldest.
Yes.
Of 9 fucking kids.
Thank you for using the word eldest instead of oldest, because it starts to get oppressive when people start calling you the oldest all the time.
Yeah, no. You're the eldest of 9 kids.
Yes.
what I find fascinating is that you're the eldest of 9 kids. Most people who are the eldest of a large family do not want to have kids. And yet you have 5 children.
Yes.
So now, doing some reading on you, first of all, I know your family's very close and they're amazing. But was it your brother, one of your brothers? Wait, I have them. I don't know if it was Paul or Patrick. Were like, she was always, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm doing it. And I'm doing it now. And I'm, just driven. Like from the minute you came out.
Yeah, I came out driven.
Now, what can you tell me a little? Wait, I know your father was a theater and a film critic.
That's right.
For a newspaper.
That's right.
Yeah. And
I should do some research.
I always do research. Do you think that's what got you into the whole? Did your father get you into it? Did your mother have? She couldn't have had an outside job, did she?
No, she
Thank
didn't.
God.
She was pregnant and nursing my entire life. You can imagine if I'm the eldest, right? And there's 9.
So how many year span of the 9 kids?
15 years.
So you're 15 and your mother's pregnant.
Yeah, I'm in high school. And like lots of girls in my high school were also pregnant. So I was, it was kind of weird. Did you go to a
Catholic high school?
No, I went to public.
But you know what's so funny is like, I always thought you shouldn't have kids if your kids that you already have know how to have kids.
That's a kind of a good rule, but there's also like the accident babies. Right. So it's like, I remember one time I was at, the OBGYN and I was pregnant and I was fretting because I was like 35 and I was pregnant. They were like, they call it a geriatric pregnancy, by the way. Have you ever heard that?
35?
Yeah. It's called a geriatric pregnancy.
Okay,
and they're like,
then I was a geriatric pregnancy.
Okay, so most people who live in New York are. It's like only the people
and Jews can have babies into their like mid 40s.
Oh my gosh, that's a good
Jew-bell.
Oh, Jew-bell. Okay.
Yeah.
Do I get a Jew-bell too if I bring up Jews?
Oh, anything that mentions anything Jewish. I need to let people know that we actually contribute to the world because everyone hates us. Go ahead.
Okay. I don't hate Jews. There we go. Okay, so I get the hang of it. So anyway, I was in my doctor's office pregnant. And I also want to tell you that because I know a lot about the whole like Jewish like fertility thing.
Yeah.
Because I had all my babies at home. And so
did?
So my midwife is like the biggest like Jewish midwife in like the Hasidic community in Brooklyn, because none of them can go to the hospital because it's not like clean or whatever.
All right, I can't with the Hasidim.
But listen though.
All right, go ahead.
No, well, ring the bell again because you're putting hate on the Jews. So
Sorry.
2 bells to you.
They're not really Jewish.
Okay,
but whatever.
So, but there are people that have their babies at home, and so they get married really young, and just keep having babies until they're like 55 or whatever. So, anyway, great midwives because they have a lot of experience with home births.
She's not Jewish though.
Miriam Schwarzschild. Anyway, so back to me. I was in the OBGYN office and I went into my appointment fretting because someone told me that because I was 35, I was going to have like a baby with like 3 heads and I was geriatric and whatever. And I expressed this concern to my OBGYN and he said, the woman who was sitting in the lobby is 55 years old, thought she was through menopause, came in for a routine pap smear, is pregnant, has grandkids, and randomly an egg was like, hello. So it's like,
what?
Yeah, it happens.
That's when you go, I have to kill myself right now.
I mean, maybe you, but I think that's pretty cool.
Right. I just like,
because
I'm 56. I'm like, if I had a kid, I'm a lesbian, so it's not happening. But if I, got pregnant.
Hooked up.
Yeah.
With some guy.
And I got pregnant.
Randomly.
I would be like, I bring my kids in. I go, you're in your 20s. One's in his 20s. Like, can you take care of this kid? Because I need to relax.
I need to, have you
Yeah, I'm done. I'm done with that. All right. Wow. So she's...
So what I'm saying is your little rule about if your kids are old enough to have kids or whatever, it's like
you can't
sometimes
help it.
there's a...
Yes, I get it.
There's a surprise.
No, I just always thought like when I was in high school or something and one of the parents, I was like, now your parents have like, what's just a thing. All right, whatever.
No, it was, but actually I had a friend who got pregnant like within a year of my mom having Elizabeth, my youngest sister. Yeah. And then years later, she was friends like at school with my friend's kid.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was weird. And then also, by the way, there was another family. This has nothing to do with my brain tumor, which is why I'm here. But
wait, you had a brain tumor?
You know what? I wrote a book about it, and we'll talk about that in a minute.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
So that's why I'm here to tell you about it.
Really? Okay.
This family across the street had like a big Catholic family.
Right.
And in a bizarre turn of events, there was a divorce, which is very rare in the Catholic community.
Right.
Usually you just like, the Catholic divorce is the mother dies of cancer.
Right.
So I literally just made that up. I'm sorry. That was kind of rude.
No, it wasn't.
But so anyway, so she got remarried and got pregnant with grown kids, and her daughter and she got pregnant at the exact same time. So they had, and she lived with her mom because she got divorced too.
Oh my God.
Lived with her mom. So they were a mother and daughter, pregnant, had the babies. Kids were best friends, but it was like aunt and niece, but they were like sisters.
Right.
It was a very bizarre situation.
That is really mental.
But it was also a blessing.
Right, because it's like, oh God, you and your positive attitude. I can't take it. Now, can you name all of the siblings in your family really fast?
Sure.
Okay.
It's Felicia, Paul, Vincent, Danielle, Patrick, Maria, Michelle, and Elizabeth.
Who's your favorite?
Oh, I have a favorite aspect of all of them. There's a favorite part of all of them.
You and your perfection.
Like to create a perfect human being, could take a piece of all of them.
Okay. I'm going to vomit because this is so nice. Okay. Were you popular in school? Very important question.
I kind of was like infamous.
Really?
So I was popular, but not in a good way.
Like, what did you do? Like, how did the infamy come about?
Well, I think that when I started high school, I was very, very friendly, and I was kind of probably too friendly because you have to be kind of like unfriendly in school to be cool.
Right.
And so I got kind of a reputation my freshman year as like a dizzy blonde. They called me like dippy blonde, dizzy blonde, and stuff like that because I was very friendly.
Right.
And then so I started to really, really get my feelings hurt by being called a dippy blonde. So I started to be mean.
Good.
Yeah. So I started to like write songs, poetry, and raps about people I didn't like and disseminate them widely.
But how did you, because we didn't have social media, thank the Lord.
We passed notes. We passed notes around.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, but you had friends.
Yeah, I had friends. But, I kind of was in my senior year, I realized that I had been kind of a bitch. And I wanted to make friends with everyone.
Did you ever go back to your high school reunion? And
you know what? Every time there's a high school reunion, I swear to God, I'm either giving birth, filming something.
Right.
So I just don't have that. But I've been in contact with the committee and things like that. And,
I hated high school. It was horrible. Were you a good student?
I was a really good student in college. In high school, I really found ways to get decent grades without doing any work. So no, I was not a good student.
So did you hate having all those, like, was there a point in your life where you were like, I was
extremely jealous of people who had small families.
Right.
Because I would always say, Dad, if you didn't have all these kids, we would have so much more money. Our car would be nicer. I would have nicer clothes. And I always kind of looked around at other people being like, I'm so jealous of people who have small families because they have so much more stuff, so much more attention. their parents are all fretting all the time about
Right.
whether or not they're going to get into the college. And
Right.
it was like survival of the fittest
Right.
at my house. But looking back, I am so happy that I had the big family. And
Right, of course.
I see how it all makes sense now. And actually, I recently found out that, Karen Bergreen, Karen Bergreen.
Oh my God, Karen, I love her. I got some info from her. We're really good friends.
Is it about me?
Maybe.
Okay. Anyway, so Karen and I are really good friends.
Right.
And she was always came to the hospital
Right.
to visit me. And because she and I have kids the same age. So
Right.
we've had like the play dates where we like drink wine and stuff and
Yeah.
the kids run around for years. I was pregnant with Jack and she was pregnant with Teddy at the same
Right.
time. So, and we saw each other at auditions at gym and we
Yeah.
just connected. And so anyway, Karen is an old friend of mine, but she never really told me that she judged the fact that I had so many kids until she admitted, to me
Right.
that during my illness and my recovery, all my siblings came.
She
They
told
all
me that.
came.
That's what she told me.
And they were amazing.
That's what she said.
And it was like, when you are part of like a big communal situation,
Right.
and you're like, I gotta run here. Can you watch my kid and all this stuff? You just trust everyone and they're all family
Yes.
and you have, like, that's how it was. It was like a big holiday, except the holiday that was being celebrated was that I was
a brain
almost dying.
tumor.
Yeah. And Karen was like, I finally get why you had 5 kids. I understand it now in a way that I never understood it before.
I'm sure you meet all these families and they have one kid. And to me, like, all right, so I'm one of 3, and my mother was one of 3, but her brother was killed when he was 15. And her and my aunt made a pact that they would each have 3 kids so that there was, 2 left in case something happened.
Wow, that's a
Yeah.
pretty intense worldview.
Yeah.
But I
They
mean, I
promised
think
each
that back
other.
in the day, people would have like 13 kids because like 6 of them would die of like pneumonia.
Of course.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Make another smart choice with Auto Quote Explorer to compare rates from multiple car insurance companies all at once. Try it at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Now, was your family religious? Is that why they had 9 kids?
Catholic, yeah. My mom, but my dad was a very he's a very Jewish personality,
Right.
Even though he was Catholic. I have an
convert?
amazing story of how,
go.
Yeah, no, he didn't have to convert because his mother converted because. No, I know. I was really lambasted in Israel. In Israel, I was like, yeah, I'm part Jewish. And then there was like, are you still Jewish? I'm like, no. And they were like, get out. So it was not good.
I hate that
But
shit.
okay,
Yeah.
let me just finish one story
All
first
right,
because
go.
I just want to say that there was a period of time in high school where I was like, I would never even have one kid. I've done my time with the
Right.
diapers
Of
and all that
course.
stuff because my mom, I am like type A and my mom is like free range parenting. Like she was like free to be you and me era.
She was?
Yeah, she was not organized, like
Okay.
no lists.
Right.
But she was like a creative storyteller.
Right.
So we would go to the park and we'd go in the woods and she'd be like, she'd make up characters for everyone.
I
Just
love her.
completely creative genius, but not like production oriented.
Right.
My father, production oriented, like 3 jobs, taught film at UWM,
Yeah.
was doing reviews, wrote a column, very intellectual, books
Right.
everywhere. And very quiet about whether or not he believed in God or not. Went to mass, but was much more of a secular intellectual.
Right.
But
So why
got
did
married.
his mother convert?
Okay, here we go. So back in in Germany,
Yes.
pre-World War II.
Yes, I
Okay, if we take it back a little, come back with me.
This is before the World
Yes.
War. Okay.
My grandfather, my non-Jewish grandfather, my father's father, was an anti-Nazi propaganda rebel.
Okay.
And he wrote watch out, this guy is no good.
Right.
And there was in Berlin, there was a big uprising in the underground about how horrible this Hitler thing was. And there was a lot of people being like, what are you talking about? It's fine. We're going to get money or whatever it was. And so he got put on a hit list.
Right.
Also, one of the things that was very dangerous is that he married a Jewish woman.
Right.
And who was a full practicing Jewish family and everything like that. And so when the shit started to hit the fan, Elena Fels, her name was.
Oh, okay.
And so she and he were targets, especially him, because he published novels about in German about how awful Hitler was, and pamphlets and all this stuff. So when the shit hit the fan and like people started getting shot and stuff like that, they had like this whole like underground railroad escape network, but they had to be separated. Right. So at the time, my grandmother had 2 boys, my uncles, and he had to go in hiding one place and she had to go hiding in another place. So where she was hiding was in a Catholic monastery run by Dominican priests.
Oh, okay.
And so she disguised as the housekeeper.
Right.
So like when the soldiers would come in and stuff like that, she was like sweeping the floor and whatever, like like a nun's outfit, or I don't know how they hit her. But anyway, skip ahead. My grandfather would sneak in occasionally and have like conjugal visits.
Right.
So one day,
the nuns watched because there
was no nuns. It was Dominican priests.
Oh, right. Okay.
So, I mean, and I'm just saying, I'm not trying to like air my grandparents' dirty laundry, but this is part of the story. So he would visit his wife. Let's just say he would visit his wife. And one day, she turned up pregnant. And the Dominican priests were like, we got to get you to France and to America ASAP because it's going to look like we got the housekeeper pregnant because there's no other men around here.
Right.
Right, because he snuck in the basement tunnels or whatever. And, but anyway, so during this period of time, because my grandmother was an opera singer.
What?
Yeah, she was an opera singer.
This is amazing.
Because the whole thing is, though, when the Nazis occupied Germany, all the Jewish people were, it wasn't like they were struggling and they were the top of society.
Right, exactly.
Professors, opera singers, musicians.
Doctors, yes.
Yeah.
Art
and they just
Berlin
got
was like the art capital of the world.
They got yanked out of their jobs and thrown on trains. It was like unbelievable.
Right.
And so anyway, in order to keep her art going, she became part of this like liturgical Catholic music.
Wow.
So she learned all the, she was posing as a Catholic.
Right.
And really as a musician, because she was very not religious, she fell in love with the music.
Right.
So anyway,
she way better than our music. Oh my God.
I can't compare. I don't know a lot about Jewish music.
Okay.
But I mean, like really complicated, like classical church music. So anyway, she escaped through Paris, reunited with my grandfather in New York in the 1943 or whatever it was.
Thank God they got out.
To start the new life, and came in as a Catholic family, even though he was a Lutheran and she was a Jew.
Right.
That was their like cover story.
Right.
And also then by the way, the pregnancy was my father. So that's very exciting.
Right,
and his name is Dominic, after the Dominican.
Oh, I love that.
Priest. So she continued, like her connections were through like churches.
Right.
So that's how she got her
and
jobs.
Where did they come
New
to?
York City.
Oh,
New York
they did
City,
come to you through Ellis Island?
Through Ellis Island.
Wow, that's so awesome.
Yeah. But like in the 40s.
Right. And then did they move to Wisconsin?
Well, what happened was they lived in New York.
Right.
There's a long story. I mean, there's a huge story there with
this is your next book.
This is my next book. I mean, actually, I think my brother Paul is going to write this book.
Oh, okay.
Actually, he's an author as well, published.
Paul is a New Yorker cartoonist
Yes,
as well.
he is, and published author. He wrote a 3-book.
Really not that smart. Go ahead.
No, they're kind of basic.
Yeah.
So anyway, So anyway, so she raised her kids Catholic. They went to Catholic school and all this stuff, and basically betrayed the Jews.
I'm just thinking you're mad that I just put my feet on this thing, but it's okay.
No, I was pointing at the bell, which you were kind of like, Q was late.
I know, because I was like,
timing.
oh my God, is she looking at my feet?
No, I was looking at the bell.
I got you. All right.
But anyway, it's a great story.
You have to write another book or a screenplay.
I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah. Okay, let's go back to you. So
back to me.
you go to Marquette. You come here right after?
I did an internship at the Milwaukee Repertory Theater, and then I quickly moved to New York.
And you started out as a stage actress. You did sketch comedy.
Yes.
And you created Shakespeare in the playground.
On the playground, yeah.
On the playground.
Which was
How old were you when you created Shakespeare on the playground?
24, 25.
Okay. So you created a way of bringing, giving kids knowledge about theater and bringing them together and by teaching them Shakespeare plays on the playground.
Yes.
And you're 24 years old.
Yes.
Okay, that's not normal, Jeannie.
Well, here's the thing. I really always had this kind of vision.
Right.
And I was really scared. Did you see that really weird documentary at Theranos on...
No. Is it good?
Well, it's this crazy vision lady who has this vision, and it's like she doesn't make any sense, but like people like gets under her spell. And I was like, oh no, am I like that? But then I realized...
You're a cult leader. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, no, because most people don't follow me. That's the whole thing. They're like, you're crazy. I'm out. But anyway, so the other thing was selfishly, I have a need to do it. So it's not like I'm like, oh, I'm so generous, because I have this like need, which is also something I discovered through this brain tumor, is that I was always like, oh, I'm making all these sacrifices for everyone. And I've given up my career for Jim, and I've given up my life for these kids. And then I realized, oh no, I like it.
Right.
Yeah, I love it.
Right.
It's selfish.
Yeah.
It's my ego.
Yeah.
That's kind of the,
oh God,
you don't even have to get the book now.
So
I just wanted to teach kids about production.
Right. It's just amazing what you've done. Like, it's fucking amazing how smart and talented you are.
Jeez,
you
thanks.
co-wrote the animated show Pale Force. You have worked, like, a lot of people don't know this, but you co-write with like, you guys are a team.
I just want to be like kind of humble for a second. You know that it's Jim's voice, right? He comes up with all.
So Jim,
It's like I like tag, I like help, I like mold, but it's not like I'm like writing 50% of other jokes.
No. But I'm just saying, you are such a big part of it, and especially with the Jim Gaffigan Show.
Well, that was different because that was a character named Jeannie. It was balanced.
I know it was So you're doing Jim Gaffigan Show,
yeah,
and you hired this woman to play you. Was it weird having? Well, like, why did you want to play yourself?
Okay, well, let me tell you. When I hear the story, this is like I'm going. Gee, this is inside baseball right now. This is like deep state stuff.
Okay.
So when Jim and I first wrote this show, or a version of this show, it was going to be a single camera, like low budge, like a scripted reality show with both of us playing each other, our kids running around, the small better. It was like, it was a very great marketing idea. It's like a loose, we have the comedians come in. It's like, oh, Judy's here again. And it was just going to be brilliant. So anyway, we were working on that with NBC. And that year, I think Roseanne and Sarah Silverman both also had pilots, which didn't get made, but they bought them instead of ours. So we didn't get on that pilot season. So then the next year we went back and CBS was interested, but CBS is more like, and this star is going to play your wife.
Of course.
So the first one was Mira Sorvino played Jeannie. They were like, you know, comedy award winning or Academy Award winning Best Actress for Comedy. And
first of all,
they wanted someone more famous than Jim to kind of.
I hate this part of the business.
Yeah,
it's like that whatchamacallit, Prom, where they're going to now do the TV show of the musical Prom that was on Broadway, and they hire only stars when you could take these people who originated the characters and make them stars.
Right.
You know, it's just what
It's just the way it's just the way it is.
You know, my friend Wendy Liebman.
Yes.
She wrote a whole thing, and they wanted someone to play Wendy.
But we did a whole episode about that on the Jim Gaffigan Show, where Jim had to audition to play himself.
Right.
And I actually played the bitchy casting director on that episode.
I love
where I was
that.
like, it's not really, I don't really feel that you're understanding this character. Like it was just.
Did you laugh?
During the filming?
Yeah.
Or no, during the writing of it, we laughed. But it's like then I was like really mean to him.
Right.
God, and dismissive.
So
it was really fun.
Wait, so they wanted Mira Sorvino to play you.
They cast her to play me.
Oh, they did cast her.
I mean, I think there was a test, but it was like kind of like, this is who's playing.
Was there any chemistry between?
I mean, I don't want to, disparage anything, but it's like I'm thinking she's a lovely person.
Oh my God,
so,
I love her. But go ahead.
I mean, to me, it's like it didn't work for a number of reasons. And in the very rare development, CBS said, listen, we want you to recast this role and we're going to make it again. So they didn't say no. They were like, we believe in this project.
And then who did they cast?
So then I got bumped up as an executive producer and saw 200 actresses.
Wow.
Yeah. And because the whole thing is.
Were you nice in the casting process? Because
I was super
mean
nice.
They are. They can be so mean.
I was mean. I mean, I think I might have been like eventually developed into a mean person.
Right.
Like later when I was casting the show, only because like the door closes and then you discuss the situation.
Right.
You're like, you'd think they would look at the sides before they come in. There's like that kind of stuff that goes on.
I know.
And then I also was like, I never want to audition again after I hear what people talk about in the room when you leave. It's not good.
Like,
anyway,
what was the worst thing you heard in the room?
I mean, it's the worst thing you hear in any room when someone leaves. It's like, what was going on with that? I was going one way and the other, it's that kind of thing. It's like things that you would never want to see. Well, no, I don't think there was ever a fat ass, but because, Jim was in the room, so it could never say that.
This week's episode of It's Judy Show with Judy Gold is sponsored by BetterHelp. And if you know me, which I think you do because you're listening to my podcast right now, you know that I am a big advocate for therapy. I think it benefits everyone. I think there's so many people who need it, who don't partake. It is so important for your emotional health and well-being. Therapy is fantastic. It is in every stretch of the imagination. And if you're thinking of starting therapy, please do it. But please give BetterHelp a try. It is entirely online. It's designed to be convenient. It's flexible. It suits your schedule. You fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. I have switched therapists in my life. I've had many, many therapists, and sometimes it's not a great fit for you, but don't give up. Therapy is beneficial. You can learn about yourself, you can process, and just be emotionally healthy. I'm telling you, do it. BetterHelp is great because, when I used to schlep to my therapist's office, it was so annoying. You have to do it, and you sit there and you wait, and then I'm telling you, doing it online is fantastic. And BetterHelp is amazing. I know a lot of people who've used it. So if you're thinking about therapy, go to BetterHelp.com. Let the gratitude flow. This is Gratitude Month, people. So you need to let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/JudyGold, JudyGold, today, and you will get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/JudyGold. You're welcome.
Anyway, I was in a predicament because it's like a lot of the young comic actresses didn't want to play someone with 5 kids because they felt like then they would not be able to play like the young ingenue anymore.
Oh my God!
And then the ones that were dying to play it were too old.
Right.
And also there was, if they were too smart and too like savvy, then it just looked like Jim was like a total idiot and like mentally ill.
Right.
So there had to be somebody that had, basically I was looking for myself.
Right.
Because it was like, the person has to be crazy enough to have 5 kids in New York City.
Of course.
And be flawed. Because if they're too perfect, then he just looks like a schlub and almost abusive because he just eats all the time and sleeps.
Right.
So, because on the show, you don't see the working.
Right.
You just see that he's like the lazy guy.
Yeah.
And that Jeannie does all the work. So I think that why it wasn't weird for someone to play me is because I had gone through this process where at a certain point where I gave up on me playing me and I went through the whole year of like someone else playing me and I was behind the camera and I realized, oh my God, I can write better than I would ever be an actress.
Right.
And I want to be in this seat and not in front of the camera with everyone telling me what to do about what my life is.
Exactly.
I need to maintain some control. So unless I was like executive producer, acting, directing, I mean, it's like, and I, by the way, I actually do have 5 kids. So when do I see them then? So there was a lot of stuff going on. So when Ashley Williams came in, she had like 10 backpacks and like she like had she was like went to a million auditions. She like put everything down. She was like in front of the room, like fanning her armpits. And I'm like, I love her. Yeah. She came in the room, right energy,
right,
quirky, flawed, cute. Yeah. And I was like, I want you to play me.
Was this after? Did you know the minute she walked in the room?
I knew it was head and shoulders above any.
And then she read, and you were like, "Oh my God!" Did you tell her right then?
She's so cute.
I know.
No, you can't do that.
I know, but didn't you want to?
I did, but it really was. I mean, it really was my decision because I could ding people.
Right.
Like everyone could
ding.
Look. I could. Well, that's a Jew bell.
I know. I was kidding.
You did the ding bell.
I was just using it as a ding bell.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, it's your rules. So, anyway, I could say everyone could love someone and I could be like, I don't see it. And also the people who I was dinging were amazing.
Right.
Like there was a point when Laura Benatti auditioned.
Oh my God.
And she's like my hero.
I love her.
And I was like, that would be amazing. And, but it's like not me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
So, and actually then she was like, I just got a huge role in something else. So too bad. So sad.
Yeah, take care.
And then,
I can't believe I didn't audition for this because we're so
my
alike.
God. You know who auditioned? Who was for the CBS one?
Who?
That was Parker Posey.
No way.
I love her.
I love her too. She's so amazing.
She's amazing. And I was like, if Parker Posey played Jeannie Gaffigan, it would be the coolest thing ever. But that's a whole other story. Yeah, so it wasn't weird, someone playing me.
Did any of your friends audition?
For me?
Yeah.
I mean, friends is such a strange word.
Especially in this business.
Yeah, it's like people I knew, of course.
And then did they call you? Like, this is what I can't stand about. Were they like, hey, Jeannie, want to get some coffee?
Yeah.
But you know that they're trying to find out if they got the part.
Or can they get in the room? That's a lot of... Can they get the audition? I see on breakdowns that you're casting for your show. Yeah. But the thing is, there's so many other people
that are involved.
Also, and you can't. And also, you have to save you're going to take a bullet at some point. So you have to like pick and choose your battles. You can't be like, this person who hasn't called me in 5 years, I'm going to take my battle. I'm going to go to battle for this person who... you have to be, you want to be nice.
Right.
And you want to tell a lot of times I would call the casting director and I'd say, because you don't see all the tapes. You see the tapes they choose. So let's say 20 people.
You'll go on tape. They'll watch them, like, literally, they could be like, oh, she looks like my mother-in-law, bing.
And you don't even see
you
them.
don't even know them. Yeah.
So there have been times where people have been like, I just for your show and I didn't hear anything. And I know that I never saw their tape. So I'll call the casting director and say, can we see this person because they know my brother or whatever.
And did they ever say, did they admit, oh, we had them and we didn't send you the tape?
No, we just knew that. Like, it's just given.
Wow.
Like, their job is so we don't have to watch 100 tapes.
I got you.
So they're doing their job, but it's like...
It's still annoying.
Someone could slip through the cracks, and then someone could say, hey, my friend Joe Blow auditioned for your show and never heard anything. So then I could call the casting director and say, do you have the tape of Joe Blow's audition?
Yeah.
And they're
I
like,
love
oh,
Joe Blow. He is an incredible actor, Joe Blow.
He definitely is.
Yeah.
Good at blowing.
And Jane Doe is also amazing. Jane Doe.
Yeah, Doe. Yeah. I'm a doer.
Now we're going to get to...
I get sick.
The First of all, how did you meet Jim, by the way?
He lived on my block. I
think I know this story.
Yeah, it's in the book too, by the way.
Okay.
You don't have to go through the whole thing, but he lived on my block.
I think it's on my last podcast.
Yeah, we told the whole story.
So listen to that older podcast. Okay, so you decided not to do the Jim Gaffigan Show anymore because you were not seeing your kids.
Yeah, it was like it was emotionally like
it's draining. It's like, and I did a couple episodes. You were like doing everything. I mean, still pleasant, which I don't understand, but you were on that set. You were writing, you were directing, you were producing. You were like, no, that shirt's wrong. I mean, it was.
I was pretty intense.
Yeah. But you were still nice.
Sometimes.
No, well, you were to me. So, you decide, and I totally get that. My career, I have to say, definitely took a hit but I would never give that time up that I had with my kids. Ever.
Right.
That was the
it's hard to explain to people. The whole thing is that there is definitely a balance, because I do know that it's possible to produce like amazing work and have an amazing family, but on that schedule, it was impossible.
Well, it's impossible. I mean, I only had 2 kids, but I definitely gave up a lot. I mean, I would get offered stuff. I'm like, no, I'm not going to miss like their 7th grade or 8th grade graduation. Or
I missed when I was doing the show. I missed all that stuff.
Yeah, it's hard. It's heart-wrenching.
And also, there's like 100 other people whose jobs depend on you, and you want to employ actors and crew and everyone, and you don't want to disappoint them. And it was hard because they also became my family, my work family.
Yeah,
and I loved everyone.
People don't get that, like that when you're involved in a show or a successful show, that is your family for all of those years. That's why like all these guys and women, they go, oh, we're shooting a movie for a year in, Norway. And then they all fall, so-and-so fell in love, because they're in a fantasy land for, okay.
But you saw that when you did our show, you saw that we were a united group of people. Yeah. And it helped the guest stars come in because they were like comfortable, and we were all kind of like,
oh, it was great. It was really upsetting when and then everyone's like, why do you think they canceled? What do you think? And I said, because Jeannie never sees her kid. I mean, that's really what I thought.
Well, also I told him, I'm like, listen, for season 3, if you want to get, because I can function as a executive producer who comes in a couple times a week,
right, like
how most executive producers are. But you need to find someone who you're comfortable, because he's in every scene.
Right.
So who's going to be that third eye on our life, right?
And making it real.
And also not just being like, here's a joke about the Pope because I'm Catholic. It's like there are really, really, really smart, funny writers in New York, but this is so personal that bringing in another point of view is sometimes could corrupt the original idea.
Yes, of course, and make it inauthentic.
So so that year, instead of doing the 3rd season, we decided to do another comedy special.
Okay.
And we did. And we moved the office here.
Okay.
And I decided to spend more time with my kids by putting my office in my home. And
Where was the office before?
And 57th Street.
So you had to like schlep over there.
Yeah.
Okay. Like it was like you're going to work.
It was our studios,
Right.
like where we shot the show.
Oh,
we
yes,
had offices
yes.
there.
I was there.
Yeah. So
I played the Rachel Maddow thing.
Yeah, that was
Remember-
amazing.
That was so
season
fun.
1.
That was season 1, and then I was Judge Judy. That
Yeah,
was
Judge
so
Judge
funny.
Judy was so good. So to kind of put things in perspective with the not seeing the kids and doing all the writing and all that stuff, the last episode, which was an amazing episode, if you can, and by the way, all the Jim Gaffigan Show episodes are available on iTunes.
Thank you very much.
There's one called the Mike Gaffigan Show, which I directed. It was the last episode of the second season, and it takes place in the 70s when Jim is a kid in Indiana. And Jim plays his father, who's like a, classic, says goddamn every
Right.
sentence, always has a scotch in his hand, doesn't lift a finger around the house, yells
Right.
at the kids.
Yeah.
And my son, Jack, plays young Jim. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's great.
And it's 52 scenes. It was shot on
52 scenes?
52 scenes, and it's a 22-minute show. And then it ends with, it's a very, if you watch that, then you were like, okay, Jeannie Gaffigan is insane. You could see a snapshot of my mind, because also I didn't know his dad, but I put together the entire production based on a photo album. So there's real items from his childhood, Easter eggs. I'm really a crazy director. So I do really things that no one will ever know, like stuff that's in the drawers that makes it more real for me, like crazy.
Yes.
So anyway, I sprained my foot on the first day of shooting the show, and I was like, well, the show must go on. And I went to the set in Long Island. It was like the beach, the stairs, all this crazy stuff. And I asked my assistant to get me some crutches out of the props truck, and I didn't go to the doctor. So this was the kind, I never would go. I'm like, well, I'm supposed to go to the doctor when I'm shooting a TV show. So suffice it to say that was my attitude. I don't take care of myself. I have to just do all this stuff.
Yeah.
Right? So even though that was the case on the show, when I moved home, I didn't really go into the spa or anything. I was still running a house.
Well,
and,
you have
really
5
intense.
kids. Not like you're like, oh, I'm not working. I'm going to take a little
And
break.
I was like, I'm running this when my kids had to get school uniforms. I'd be like, we're having a fitting in the wardrobe trailer. It was still running a show. I mothered like I produced, so I was still busy. But I was at the pediatrician's appointment with them, and the doctor, Jewish doctor, was talking about the flu shots, that I bring all 5 kids in the room so they can do all the forms, because there's forms for camp and this and that.
Yeah. I can't take it with the basketball, because Ben plays basketball. There's so many fucking forms.
And if
it's why can't there just be one database form? And
I have a chapter in the book about the forms.
I can't.
5 kids times the forms. And if one thing is wrong, they send it back and you can't get into school or camp. It's insane.
Or they can't go, they can't attend. It's so fucking annoying.
I know. So I'm in the room, 5 kids, 100 forms. She's talking about, she's like, oh, she made a comment about how many kids were in the room and all the forms, and it was crazy. I'm like, this is like my house. And she's like, I think you all came in here in October or something, right? And I said, yeah, we had the flu shot. And then I said, but we all got the flu anyway. We talk like this, right? She and I are funny. And then she said something that I couldn't hear at all. Her mouth moved.
And you couldn't hear
And I couldn't hear it. So I turned my head and I said, could you say that again? And she said, well, I said the flu shot really did work this year, but what's wrong with your ear? And I'm like, oh, I know. I noticed on a plane a couple months ago that my left ear just doesn't hear anything anymore. And she goes,
a couple of months ago?
Yeah. And she goes, what do you mean a couple months ago? And I go, well, I'm like, you get reading glasses, you get a hearing aid. She goes, no. She's like, I was saying, I thought it was just getting old.
Right.
She's like, you don't just lose your hearing. So she writes me a referral to an ENT, and I'm like, another appointment.
And you're thinking, I'm not going.
Yeah, but then she's like, I want you to follow up. Like, she's like the Jewish mother. Yeah.
Good for her.
So, anyway, I eventually follow up. He can't see anything wrong.
Is he Jewish?
You know what? I don't know. Not an obvious Jew.
What's his first name?
David.
All right, let's give it to him.
Okay. And anyway, so I come back, probably not like excessively Jewy.
Yes.
So there's some doctors you're like, oh, they have.
I know. They're like, oh, you come in and yeah.
This one's like, I couldn't tell you or not.
Okay.
He's an under the radar Jew. I don't know what you call. Is there a word for that?
They're assimilated.
Very assimilated.
Right. Yeah. There's the German Jews, by the way, are the ones that were, like to be a little more waspy and hide their Judaism. The German ones.
Okay, noted.
Okay.
So anyway, nothing he sees. So I come back, and I'm just like, yes,
wait,
can't hear.
He looks at you, says nothing.
He gives me Flonase. He's like, maybe you're
yeah, and he looked in your ear.
He's like, I don't see anything. So we come back in a month. So now it's March, and he's like, I'm like, I still can't hear. He goes, well, every once in a while, like 1 in 10 million chance, there's a small like cyst or neuroma on your auditory canal, but we can only see it with an MRI. So I'm going to write you a prescription to go to this radiology center to get an MRI. I'm like, another appointment forms,
Yeah.
So I go, I'm like, okay. And then I find out I can just walk in and give the forms and wait. So it's not like you have to make an appointment. So I'm like, okay, I'll do it after drop off because I don't like to come home and then leave again. I like to go drop off. Yeah, I write a whole thing in the book about how that's just give me an appointment at like 9 a.m. and I'm so happy because I have a full day. So anyway, there's a whole thing where I go to where I get the MRI and then I think I can't answer if I'm pregnant or not because I'm like, I don't know, I might be pregnant. Like I'm always
look at me.
Yeah.
You see, I have 5 kids behind me.
I might be pregnant. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I have to come back and like when I'm not pregnant, so I come back. And anyway, I get the MRI, and that's when I discovered that I have a massive brain tumor that's going to kill me in like 1 second.
You go in, you get the MRI. Are you by yourself?
By myself. It was ticking off my to-do list. It was not like, I'm getting the MRI.
It's like,
pick
up the, do a load of laundry, get the milk, MRI. And so you go in.
Yeah.
Do they have the mirror? Because they now have the mirror.
In the machine?
Yeah, you can now have a mirror in the MRI so you can look behind you so you don't think you're in a tunnel.
I've had those before, but I've had like 5,000 MRIs, by the way. This is my first MRI.
And they're so pleasant, too, the sound.
They're banging. And, I did. Actually, that's when I started writing material about this, is when I was in the tube. Because I'm like, this is the most bizarre. They're banging.
It's so
It sounds
weird.
like they're something went wrong. They're trying to break you out with a sledgehammer.
Wait, so you're in there, you get out. Does anyone say anything?
No, but I see it in the guy's eyes.
You did not.
Because he's like, hey, I tell the whole story. It's like the best chapter in the book. Where he's like, oh, because it's like so stupid that I'm getting an MRI. Like everyone else is like sick or old. And so I go in, I'm like, yeah, whatever. It's like, this robe looks good. I'm just like getting it done. He's like, puts the contrast dye IV in my arm. He's like, hey, later you can leave this in and get a margarita. Ha ha ha. Go in, like an hour later, I come out. He looks like he's looking at a corpse. And I go, what's wrong? He goes, nothing. He goes, your doctor will call you. But he changed his demeanor.
Wow.
So I go, am I paranoid? Because I tend to look on the bright side, like it's nothing. It's like I got more a focus on the fact that I want to please Dr. Hops and I even forgot why I was in the MRI. Like I'm following up, like my Jewish mother told me.
Yeah.
But I forgot why I was doing it. So anyway, I go
you
home,
leave there
I come
and just
in this room.
being paranoid. You think you're like,
well,
come home
there's
with
a whole
weird
thing
feeling.
where they don't want to tell me and they want to leave. And
Wait, so you leave there without knowing anything? Did you
didn't
call
know
Jim and say the guy was weird
I called
after?
Jim because they said, sit down, your doctor will call you. But I'm not in a doctor's office. I'm in a radiology center. I'm like, doctor will call me. He told me to follow up with him in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And he'd give me the results of the rule out MRI.
Right.
So I sit there for a while. Then finally I'm like, what am I sitting here for? My doctor's not going to call this place. at a certain point, I tell the lady, look, you are incorrect in saying that my doctor's going to call me here. Can I see where he said that? And I try to see her, like, you know, you could never see their screen.
Right. I know.
And I'm like craning my neck. I'm acting a little crazy because I'm like, I want to leave.
Of course.
I'll call him. And then, so she's like, hold on, go sit down. And I kind of sit down and stare at her. Like, are you going to like fake that you're making a phone call?
Did you see anything on the screen?
Nothing. So then this lady in pink scrubs comes out of the back and she's like, oh, you know, your doctor's in surgery we called him just to make sure you could go, but he's going to call you later. And I'm like, huh? So I called Jim. I'm like, I'm coming back. I'm leaving. So I leave and I walk in this very room and I'm like, I'm worried about the way they were treating me.
Right.
And Jim didn't even know I was getting an MRI. Like that's how little it was.
Oh my God.
But I mean, it's my fault.
So that's not Jewish because, you know, when a Jew gets an MRI, it's like, who's going with you? You getting an MRI? I'm like, okay, so.
I just was like trying to like get it done because it wasn't like I was getting an MRI because they found a lump.
Yeah.
They were like, it was just getting an MRI to rule out that there's
something. Yeah.
So it's like, it was not like a big deal.
Got you.
So I was like, I'm worried. And Jim's like, I'm sure, you know, it's nothing. Now he tells me that he was also worried, but we find this thing in our couple. And I've seen you do your little comedy routine with your wife on Instagram.
Yeah.
And it's the same. There's good cop and hysterical cop.
Right.
And sometimes you switch roles.
Yeah.
But if one of you, if you're out to dinner and one of you is like, what's wrong with that waitress? Is she mentally ill?
Yeah.
The other will be like, maybe she had a bad day.
Yes.
Because if you're both like that, nobody wants to be friends with you. So and it switches roles.
Yeah.
A lot.
All
like
the time,
good cop,
yeah.
hysterical cop. It's a couple's survival instinct.
Yes.
So at the time, I was a little bit like, I'm afraid something's wrong with me because I have never seen someone change their personality that fast. And I'm kind of a, you know, I deal with people a lot.
Of course.
So he's like, it's nothing. So, but then, like an hour later, we were making a documentary, by the way, about the fact that we had no material and Jim booked a theater to film a comedy special. And he's like, this is going to be our challenge. Because we just wrapped one.
Right.
He booked a theater and was like, we're going to write an hour before the date of the thing. And I go,
OMG.
I'm like, we just filmed the special. Are you crazy? I'm like, I need a break. This is insane. Yeah. He's like, no, we're going to do it. And also, we're going to make a film about how we're going to do it.
Oh my God.
So, but it was kind of a really great idea. So I'm like, oh, I hate you, Jim, but okay. So we're making this documentary. I get a phone call. It's a doctor, the ENT, the ear guy.
Yeah.
And he goes, hi. No, are you sitting down?
Yeah.
He's like, I just want to let you know that I'm looking at your report here from your MRI, and it appears that you have a mass in your brain that is not really in my
purview.
Yeah. So I'm going to give you the names of some neurosurgeons. So I'm like, huh? You know, Jim's like just looking at me because my hands are shaking. He can't hear. So
wait, that's the conversation?
Yeah. He was like, I'm out. You know, he's like, he was very nice, but he's like, that's not what it was. It wasn't your ear. It wasn't your ear. Like, that was the thing. So, I mean, listen, this guy turns out to be a hero in the story later,
okay.
But
well, I hate him.
It was pretty dramatic. So I could tell that we could be here for 700 hours telling the story, but with every detail. But suffice to say, that's how I found out that I had like something wrong with me.
Don't forget to tune in next week to Just Kill Me Now.
It's Just Kill Me.
Oh. Don't forget to turn for part 2 on Just Kill Me.
No, it's not. It's
Just Kill Me.
No.
Judy Gold's Just Kill Me.
Just.
Just kill me now.